This is another Pro School office hours, so I'm here to help with anything you guys need. Feel free to raise your hand or put something in the chat or the Q&A and I'll address it. Um, I'm just gonna hang out until something comes through, so let me know how I can help. You can put something into the chat or the Q&A or raise your hand and I'll let you speak. So just let me know what I can do to help. All right. I'm gonna pulling you in, Rolando. Let's talk about quote templates.
Hey, hi.
Okay. Let's talk about quote templates. No one else has anything that they want to work on yet. So you were looking at quote templates earlier today. Is there anything that you think would be helpful for me to go over with quote templates to that would help you?
Well, I'm not sure if you can share information, but uh, one of the issues that a lot of people have that I notice is that certain formatting, like indentation, can create a lot of problems with the quotes.
Yep.
And it's often mentioned that this is going to be fixed with the quote system overhaul. So I wanted to ask, what are some of the things that we might be able to see some of the changes that we will see once the quote system is, completely revamped.
Yeah, absolutely. So you have I'm trying to think if I can just share because it's pretty much done. Um, we're just doing testing now on the overhaul, but specifically, let's just talk about the text pages because I don't know if I'm going to be able to share it on my screen. Let me just
Yeah,
let me just
if we
try
can
real
get a
quick.
sneak peek before it goes live, I think it will be amazing.
Yeah, let me just see. Let me see if I can give a sneak peek. It's all gonna get fixed on the text pages. So the text pages will not have those issues with indentation or formatting like they have right now. So all that is getting fixed. But let me see if I can actually pull this up. This is 13. All right, 1 second. Version 13. Okay, I'm pulling this up. Let's see if anybody else has anything. All right, so we're gonna go over, do a little sneak peek of the new quoting overhaul that is happening. Let me pull this up. Yeah, this is nice. Okay, so in the new system, or the overall, not, it's not completely new. It's just an overhaul, but our text pages are being changed substantially. So you now have this button here. You can add in all types of different rich formatting, including things like tables. So you can add like tables into the text, with multiple columns, multiple rows. You can add in, so if you want to have test, test, test. I have not actually personally played with this. I'm gonna do like list. Okay, I guess we gotta type it in. That test. So then we can do, I believe that you can indent. I can't remember how though. Code. Down, move up. I will look into like just standard indentation and see. It's not letting me indent right now, but I will look into that. But this whole system for editing text is different than it was before, and it's going to offer a lot more flexibility relative to what was there before. Including the ability to add in buttons into the text. So you can put, you could have like you could have a button that says watch video or something. Not sure why this is not letting me here. Oh, here we go. Yeah. So like watch video, and then you could have a link to a YouTube video here. So you can even, there's a lot of cool things that you can now do with the text pages that weren't possible before.
Will the table have extra functionality? For example, is it just to put in data into the table, or is it able to pull data from a source, or does it do calculations?
Or inside of, oh, the tables, no, they won't, it won't do any kind of formulas or anything like that. It's just for organization of information. John asked in the chat if the indenting was under this section, but it is not. So I'm gonna have to figure out. Figure out. I'm trying to use tab right now, and it's not. Tab is not working to indent. So we'll figure out. Figure out what's going on with that. I thought the list allowed for indentation, but I'm not seeing it. So yeah, I'll ask our dev team about that and see if we can make sure that indenting works. But this is gonna still offer a lot of flexibility, especially with adding things like the tables. So, all right.
I think just the button is amazing enough. Being able to link or create, a call to action inside the quote, it's just amazing.
Yeah, it's gonna be really interesting, and we've tested. So these buttons work pretty well on the end quote, where um, it will pop out into another page, in your browser when you click on those buttons. So they work really, really well. It's going to allow for a lot of things like custom pages going over financing or stuff like that. A little bit more control than what we've had in the past on these text pages. Um, John asked about fonts. I don't believe that we're able to support multiple fonts in the text pages currently. There's some trade-offs with doing things like the tables, and we decided to prioritize that over custom fonts. I know that we went with Arial for the font because of that being the most accepted legal font. Since fonts can play a role on the enforceability of contracts. So we went with Arial on the main font. I'll check with the dev team. I don't believe we're going to be able to allow any customizability of the font in these pages beyond that. But
So
it's something
we're not getting Comic Sans.
right. Yeah, yeah, no Comic Sans. No Comic Sans. But there's just some trade-offs with like the ability to have the tables and stuff like that is something that we're prioritizing over customizable fonts. Um, and so as far as the font go, we're just going to enforce Arial, um, which will be enforceable for all contracts. All right. So that's still work in progress on that. So I don't want to show too much else. But that is coming. Hopefully that will be done in the next 2 weeks. We're mostly doing text testing, but there is some sections that we're finishing up this week, and then next week will be a lot of testing. I'm gonna look into the indenting on that, and then also I'm gonna ask about fonts, but I don't think it's possible. So, yeah, okay. All right. Thanks, Rolando. I'm gonna tag in Roof Rangers. Hey, is that Trey?
Yes, Trey. Hello.
Hey, how can I help, Trey?
Well, I have a stage called production where I enter in people that are sold, that are ready to start producing their job, and I want to know if there's a way to put a checklist like pull permit, order dumpster, order blah blah blah. Is there a way to put a checklist in a stage?
Yeah, absolutely. So, you do this using a campaign. Do you have a campaign that gets triggered already for that stage?
Not for that stage, no.
Okay. Let me share my screen and I'll show you real quick how to do this. All right. So, we have the equivalent stage here would probably be this one stage. And you can see here we have a trigger that runs. So this is an example with multiple triggers. You'd probably just have one unless you wanted to have different types of checklists. So in this case here, we have a pre-production checklist if roof replacement is in the services, but we have a different pre-production checklist that runs if it's just siding. So you can use triggers in that regard, but if you don't need that functionality, you can just go with a single trigger that runs your campaign. And this is pretty common to have like a pre-production checklist campaign. And then if you want to send an email or text at this stage, you can, but there's already one being sent when someone signs a quote. So typically that ends up being a duplicate. So most of our users don't have any emails or texts being automated here, but they do have these tasks getting created. So these are getting created for the project and either assigned to the assignee for the project or a specific other team member. Like maybe you have a team member that all they just do all the permitting. And so you would want to always have it assigned to them. Or you can just assign it to whoever is assigned to the project.
Okay, so I want to add a trigger.
Yeah. So you want to add well, you're going to need to build this pre-production checklist campaign first, which you'll want to do here under campaigns. And then you can put that probably into like your job updates folder if you have one. Or I don't know where that would be here. Maybe under other. Yeah, it's currently in this account, it's under other. We're going to move this to job updates. So you want to build this out as a campaign first with however you want it with the checklists. We see pretty regularly having a like dope 360 campaign that gets sent and or something that's connected by Zapier getting triggered if you want to use someone other
So
than
that
Dope.
so each one of those create task is a separate line item in the checklist.
Correct. So the checklist functionality that we have right now is underneath the project under tasks. You will see those tasks that will get created here. So these will be tasks. You can optionally set them to lock the project like you're seeing here. So these are examples of locked projects that are locked due to certain tasks being incomplete.
Oh,
So that kind of enforces that checklist. Now, an admin on the account is still going to be able to override that lock, but an individual team member wouldn't be able to manually move that project if it's locked like that.
and I would build. Where would I build this campaign at in the company settings?
So if you go up to the hamburger menu and then you go to campaigns, and then you can just go into whatever folder you want to. The folders are just for organization. So you just click into whatever folder, like job updates, for example, is what I'd probably recommend. And then you can create a campaign here.
All right. Okay. Great. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then just build out the tasks. In the future, we are planning on adding the ability to have tasks within tasks. So it will be, rather than having just tasks listed here, it will be a task for pre-production checklist. And then the pre-production checklist will have a number of to-dos underneath it. That's something that we're going to handle at some point. So that's, and then we also want to add triggers. So like when you do complete the whole checklist, then it triggers a new campaign or it triggers movement to a new stage or something like that. That's stuff that we're looking into. I don't have, those are not priorities that are going to be very soon, but they are
Yes.
something that's on the list. So,
All right.
so it's very basic at the moment.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Okay. Anybody else have anything? Nick, anything that you want to ask or talk about? All right. Well, I think we will wrap up there then. I'll give another minute here just to see if anyone has anything. But one more minute to see if anybody has anything, and then we'll call it a day. But if you have any questions, just drop them in the chat, drop them in the Q&A, raise your hand. Austin, you have anything that you need help on? Rolando, do you have something?
Not at the moment.
Okay, I saw you raise your hand. Okay. All right, we will end there. And I'll see everybody next week.